Ma'am, step back now or you'll be charged with obstruction. The officer's voice cuts through the flashing red and blue chaos, but Carolyn Myers doesn't flinch. They're fighting, officer. I swear, I heard gunshots. Her shrill voice cracks as she points to the teens, black kids in gowns and suits, standing frozen under string lights. The music is off, but the tension is deafening. A boy raises his hands. A girl drops her cup and backs into a hedge. Whispered questions. Ripple. What's going on? Who called them? Why are they here? Disperse immediately, another officer shouts. We need the girl in the red dress. She fits the description. What description? Someone yells back, but it's swallowed by radio chatter, and sirens. Carolyn clutches her phone like a badge of authority. She leans in again. I saw one of them reach for something. This is a quiet neighborhood. You people don't belong here. That last line hangs in the air loud, enough for everyone to hear. Officers begin separating teens. Shaky breaths. Unanswered questions. Cold commands. One officer scans the crowd, zeroing in. Her, he says, motioning forward. In the red dress? Tayla doesn't move. Her heels are planted. Her hands clenched. Her eyes unwavering. The crowd parts as officers approach, but she stays right where she is, her red gown glinting under the lawn lights. Like a protest wrapped in elegance. Someone whispers her name. Her friend Jada urges, Tayla, just come. Back inside, but Tayla lifts her chin. The same way she does in debate tournaments. The same way she did when a teacher once mistook her for a janitor's daughter. She sees Carolyn standing behind the line of officers, arms folded, smirking as if this was inevitable. Tayla knows this neighborhood never wanted them here. But her mom worked double shifts to buy this house. This party was permitted, peaceful, planned. And now it's being treated like a crime scene. She scans the officers' faces, no curiosity, no concern. Just suspicion. And yet she doesn't step back. An officer steps closer, cuffs already unhooked from his belt. Turn around, he orders. Tayla doesn't flinch. Why? Ma'am, comply or face charges. Behind her, phones rise. Red cups litter the grass. The DJ's laptop sits idle. The silence is louder than any song that played before. The officer grabs her wrist. Instinct kicks in, but she doesn't pull away. She breathes deep, steady. Her voice clear, calm, unshakable, cuts the air. You're not going to silence. Use this time. Gasps ripple through the crowd. A boy mutters, Did she just? Another, She's right, man. This is messed up. The grip on her wrist hesitates. Carolyn frowns. Arrest her. She barks, but something shifts. The officer pauses. Tayla's voice continues, louder now. We're not threats. We're kids in tuxedos and curls. We were dancing. You made. It's something it's not. Cameras record it all. Her friends don't speak, but their eyes scream solidarity. This moment is no longer just hers. Phones are everywhere now. No one's dancing. No one's laughing. Just teenagers recording history they didn't ask to be part of. Someone whispers, "Post it now." Another replies, "Already live." No music, no yelling. Just the sound of police radios, heels crunching gravel, and breaths held too long. One girl shakes so badly, her camera blurs. But she keeps filming anyway. A boy whispers, "They're gonna spin this. We need every second." Even the officers notice. Their movements grow stiff under the weight of watching eyes. Carolyn scoffs, but even she checks if someone's recording. Her .they.are.tayla hasn't blinked. Her eyes hold everything: grief, defiance, exhaustion, but also something else, something stronger. A tear clings to her lower lash. She doesn't wipe it away. She lets it stay. proof that she feels but won't be broken. Her mother bursts out the front door, screaming her name. But Tayla doesn't move, doesn't speak, because her silence now isn't fear. It's power. Her message has already been delivered. The camera catches it. A teenage girl in a red dress, standing against everything that tried to shrink her. And that image, the look in her eyes, is what the world will remember when the flashback begins. She's the one who started the black student forum, the one with the poem that went viral. That's how most teachers at Cedar Hills High describe her, if they speak about her at all. Not loud, never disruptive. Always composed. Tayla Matthews, 17, top of her class, walks like she's got something bigger to do. Because she does. She writes poetry in the margins of her textbooks. Lines about legacy, silence, and the kind of beauty that doesn't need permission. At the student council, she pushes for Black History Month to be more than posters. At the debate club, she wins arguments without raising her voice. You don't have to be angry to be powerful, her mentor once told her. Tayla listened. She's been proving that ever since. She doesn't need applause, she just wants space. And just as her mother, Simone, leaves for the hospital before sunrise and often returns after midnight, scrubs stained, shoulders heavy. But she still checks Tayla's homework. We didn't come here to survive, Simone always says. We came to thrive. Her father never made it to Cedar Hills. He died 3 years ago after being sent home with indigestion, despite weeks of chest pain. The hospital called it non-compliance. Said he didn't follow up. Never mind the late appointments. Never mind the rush doctor who barely looked him in the eye. Tayla still remembers the red pen in the margins of the autopsy report. That's when she decided she'd become a civil rights lawyer, that her father's name wouldn't just fade into silence. Every A she earns is a promise. I'm coming for the system that let you die. Cedar Hills glistens with white fences, perfect lawns, and lawn signs about community values. But when Tayla walks home, curtains shift. At the grocery store, a clerk once followed her from aisle to aisle. At the community pool, she overheard. She's sweet, but sometimes I just don't know how to talk to her. Even the PTA meetings feel like a test. Smiles that flicker too fast. Compliments with hidden questions. Where did she learn to speak so well? It's not the words that bruise. It's the weight of always having to decode them. Tayla's learned to clock the glances, the whispers. Not hate, just discomfort dressed in politeness. And that discomfort follows her everywhere, especially here in the neighborhood that promised better. She learned early how to soften her voice, to avoid sounding too opinionated, to rephrase the truth until it sounded polite. When teachers skipped her in class, she didn't ask why. When someone mocked her braids, she smiled and laughed it off. Even now, she checks every text twice. No slang, no typos, nothing that can be used against her. The world already made up its mind. She told her friend once, so I have to keep proving it wrong. Excellence became her armor. Scholarships, awards, student leadership. Every achievement is a shield. But still, she can feel it, the quiet rejection, just beneath the surface. This was supposed to be a celebration. Her first prom. Her first time hosting anything in Cedar Hills. She triple-checked. Please remember this is a family-friendly neighborhood. That's how the note ends. Folded neatly and tucked into their mailbox. No name, no signature. Just a smiley face sticker on the envelope, like it's a school memo. Tayla reads it twice, then a third time. The words sound nice enough, but they don't feel nice. She flips it over. Nothing on the back. Simone brushes it off. Probably someone worried about traffic or parking. But Tayla knows better. The language is too polished, too practiced, like someone wrote it with a smile while clenching their teeth. She keeps the letter in her notebook, next to her unfinished poem about fences. The one that ends with, "Some walls don't need bricks." To block you. The phone call comes just after dinner. Simone answers on speaker, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "Hi, this is Alan from the HOA. We just wanted to touch base about the upcoming gathering at your property." Tayla stays quiet, listening from the hallway. "Of course, we support celebration." The man continues, "We just want to be proactive. You know, prevent any potential ... misunderstandings. With noise. Or safety, liability issues. Of course, you understand." Simone replies calmly, listing the permit number, the guest cap, the noise curfew. Her voice is professional, but her fingers tap the counter tight, fast. After the call ends, she forces a smile. "Just routine. We're fine." But Tayla sees the shift, the tension in her mother's jaw, the weight behind her eyes. They don't sound afraid, Tayla thinks. That's what makes it more dangerous. By midweek, the traffic slows not because of congestion, but curiosity. SUVs roll past the G house one after another, windows cracked just enough for someone to glance through. One white sedan loops the block 3 times in an hour. A jogger pauses right at the edge of their driveway. No stretch. No watch check. Just a long stare before turning away. "They act like we're building a nightclub," Tayla mutters, catching. A woman crouched near the mailbox, pretending to tie her shoe camera pointed straight at the porch. She locks eyes with her. The woman smiles, then scurries off like she didn't just violate something sacred. No one says anything out loud. But the message is loud enough. "We're watching." The knock comes at 4:17 p.m. "Hi there." Carolyn Myers, head of the HOA, queen of the clipboard. Crowd stands holding a tray of oatmeal raisin cookies. She's wearing pastel pink and a smile that's just a little too wide. Saw all the setup work. Just wanted to drop by and say hello. Tayla takes the tray. Simone thanks her. Cautious but polite. Carolyn steps a little closer. Looks lovely out back. Just so festive. Then, as her eyes flick over the lawn decorations, "Let's keep it classy, all right? We wouldn't want why misunderstandings." There it is. A warning sugar-coated and served warm. Tayla swallows hard. Everything's permitted. "We're following the guidelines." "Oh, of course you are." Carolyn nods, still smiling. "I just know how easily these things spiral." Then she's gone, leaving behind the cookies and the chill. Simone closes the door quietly. Tayla doesn't touch the tray. Neither of them says it aloud, but they both know. This wasn't a welcome. It was a reminder of who thinks they run. This street. Tayla sits on the back steps later that night, watching the string lights sway in the breeze. Her mother joins her, tired eyes scanning the darkened yard. "You think they're going to call the cops?" Tayla asks, her voice low. Simone exhales. "I think they're scared of us enjoying ourselves too loudly." Tayla doesn't laugh. "We've done everything right, baby," her mom continues. "And if they don't see that, it's their problem, not ours." But Tayla's not sure anymore. She used to think rightness was enough, that playing by the rules would buy peace. Now, all she feels is the quiet before the storm. Tayla's laughter rings out as she spins slowly with her date, the soft glow of string lights casting a warm halo over the backyard. For a moment, the weight of the world lifts, just music, friends, and the simple joy of being 17. "Let go," she whispers to herself, finally allowing the tight grip on her worries to loosen. But then, a sudden flash. Red and blue flood. The night like a storm breaking. The speakers cut dead silent, the music evaporating into sharp, anxious gasps. The crowd freezes, smiles slipping away like shadows. "Police," someone whispers, heart pounding. The glow turns harsh, unnatural. Tayla's chest tightens. This is no ordinary disruption. The carefree night she hoped for shatters instantly. The joyful moment collapses into fear. Her eyes meet her mother's across the yard. Simone's face tightens, but says nothing. Something dark has arrived, and no one knows how deep the damage will run. Earlier that evening, Carolyn Myers paced her porch, phone pressed tightly against her ear, voice sharp beneath her practiced calm. "Yes, I'm calling again." The gathering, they're out of control. Her eyes flicked toward the distant sounds of laughter. "There's fighting, and I heard mention of guns. It's dangerous." She repeated phrases like uncontrolled, rowdy, potential threat, words heavy with racial undertones, crafted to stoke fear. Her goal wasn't truth but control, to turn celebration into suspicion, to make safety a weapon. A 911 operator nodded, taking notes. Dispatch sent officers, sirens tearing through the quiet neighborhood, answering a call built on stereotypes rather than facts. Carolyn hung up, lips curling in a thin smile. Tonight, she would show everyone who really held power. Everybody. Down. Hands where we can see them. The first shout cracks through the silence. Glasses drop, shattering on the grass. Teens freeze, some with tears welling, others paralyzed by shock. "Move!" "Don't move." Conflicting orders roar as officers swarm like a storm, breaking apart the fragile calm. Jackets and gowns, once symbols of celebration, now seem like badges of suspicion. Phones emerge, shaky hands capturing every moment. Some friends drop to their knees, silent prayers in their eyes. Others scramble, searching for answers in the chaos. LA single quotes S heart pounds. She faces contort in disbelief and fear, the sting of being criminalized for nothing more than a party. A young boy sobs, "Why are you doing this?" An officer barks, "Stay down or you'll regret it." The music is gone. All that remains is the cold weight of oppression pressing down on them. This isn't just a raid, it's a message. A rough hand grips Tayla's arm, yanking her from the crowd's edge. She fits the description. The officer mutters, voice flat, eyes hard as steel. Tayla's calm fractures. "What description?" "I'm in a prom dress. I'm not a threat." Her mother screams, bursting from the house. "Tayla!" "No!" But the noise is swallowed by sirens and shouting. Friends rush forward, phones raised, voices cracking in panic. "She's just a kid," someone yells. But the officer pulls out handcuffs, cold metal gleaming under the streetlights. Tayla's body trembles, fear and fury clashing inside her, but her gaze remains steady, refusing to look away. This moment, so raw, so unjust, marks a turning point. Not just for her, but for everyone watching. In humiliation, she finds a spark. In betrayal, a fierce resolve. She won't be erased. From the crowd's edge, a man's voice rises, cracking with pain and anger. "This is racism. You don't treat our kids like this." It's the father of one of the teens, his fists clenched, eyes blazing. Neighbors shift uneasily, some flinch. Others step forward, phones recording, voices joining the cry for justice. The weight of truth crashes over the officers like a wave. No more whispers. No more silence. The community wakes. Tayla sits on the curb, dress rumpled, hair loose, eyes glistening with unshed tears. Her lips move, barely audible. "I did everything right. Why isn't it enough?" The night holds its breath. No answers come. Only the heavy, aching question lingers. The sudden crackle of live music fills the tense air. It's subtle at first, soft notes drifting through the silence, but unmistakably real. Not from a phone, not a DJ, no Bluetooth speaker. Heads turn sharply toward the side gate, confusion mixing with a flicker of hope. "What's that?" Someone whispers. The crowd, frozen moments before, shifts in uneasy curiosity. Even some officers pause, glancing toward the unexpected sound dot in the midst of fear and anger. This small melody offers a fragile thread of calm, something no one saw coming but everyone needed. Out of the shadows, Pharrell Williams steps into the yard. No security, no flashing cameras, just himself. Jeans, a hoodie, and a steady presence that commands attention without shouting. He holds a mic, but his voice when he speaks is calm, grounded. "I saw this going viral," he says simply, eyes scanning the scene. "I couldn't stay quiet." His words cut through the tension like a blade, leaving the crowd stunned into silence. Even the officers, trained for control and command, hesitate, uncertain how to react. Pharrell's quiet confidence shifts the energy. This is no longer just a party interrupted. It's a moment about to be reclaimed. Pharrell approaches Tayla slowly, with a softness that surprises her. She's still sitting on the curb, the weight of the night heavy on her shoulders. His voice lowers, almost a whisper, but it carries an undeniable strength. "You're stronger than this moment." Tayla looks up, disbelief flickering in her eyes. Then something else, recognition. Maybe hope. The words are not just encouragement, they're a lifeline. The spark inside her flickers back to life. A quiet fire reigniting beneath the pain. For the first time since the chaos erupted, she feels seen not as a victim, but as a force. Pharrell's voice rises, clear and unwavering, as he begins to sing freedom. The lyrics ripple through the stunned yard, a powerful declaration against oppression. One by one, the teens stand, hands reaching for each other, voices trembling but growing stronger. Some lock hands. Others raise fists, eyes bright with renewed purpose. The song wraps around them like armor, a shield forged from shared pain and resilience. Phones continue recording, not just the injustice anymore, but the uprising. Officers shift uncomfortably. Some lower their weapons. Others glance around, uncertain. One officer, visibly moved, steps back and holsters his gun. The music transforms the space, turning fear into unity, silence into roar. This is no longer a moment of powerlessness. It is a movement awakening. Carolyn's voice cuts through the anthem, sharp and desperate. "He's trespassing. This is illegal." But the crowd doesn't falter. Her words bounce off a wall of solidarity. A teenager steps forward, phone raised, screen glowing. Carolyn's record 5 false 911 calls, all targeting black neighbors. Murmurs swell into murmurs of recognition, then quiet outrage. Her control slips like sand through fingers. The community's eyes are wide open now. The truth cannot be silenced. Carolyn's act of manipulation unravels under the weight of evidence and collective resistance. Tayla pushes herself up from the curb. Her mother watches, breath caught between pride and disbelief. At first, her voice is soft, uncertain, raw but real. She sings, not to fill the silence, but to break it wide open. The crowd leans in, drawn by the courage blossoming before them. Her voice grows stronger, bolder each note a declaration. No longer a silent victim. She becomes a symbol of defiance, dignity, and hope. The anthem and her song merge, echoing into the night. Together, they rise. Together, they fight. Together, they will be heard. "I never imagined my words could reach beyond this block," Tayla whispered, staring at the glowing screen. Her poem, raw, unapologetic, had just been published by Teen Vogue. Lines born from pain, hope, and truth spread like wildfire. Suddenly, Tayla's voice wasn't confined to Cedar Hills. It echoed nationwide. Young activists shared it. Teachers assigned it. Conversations sparked in classrooms and living rooms. Alike. Her poem wasn't just a reflection of one night. It became a beacon of youth-led resistance against racial profiling. "I wrote it for every kid who's been made invisible," she said quietly, "for every time our stories were ignored." Now, her words carried power, demanding attention and respect. Tayla had transformed her trauma into a platform, proving that courage can't be silenced. The air buzzed with urgency. Black families, allies, and neighbors united, forming a grassroots committee. They were no longer willing to accept silence or superficial apologies. Change has to start with accountability. Simone declared at a packed town hall, her voice steady but fierce. Petitions circulated rapidly, signatures piling up as local news spotlighted the fight for reform. We want new protocols, transparent, fair, and just, one organizer explained. City officials scrambled to respond, pressured by a community that refused to be ignored. The police department announced a review of emergency responses, promising to address racial biases that had long been dismissed. This was more than justice for Tayla. It was a structural reckoning for the entire neighborhood. We're rewriting the rules, a young activist declared, so no one else has to live this nightmare. Pharrell's video post exploded overnight. The clip Tayla rising from the curb, her voice joining his captured millions. His caption was simple but profound. This generation is the sound of justice. The message spread like wildfire. Celebrities, activists, educators, everyone shared, adding their voices to the chorus, demanding racial equity in suburban policing. Hashtags trended. Online communities debated. Schools organized discussions. The moment had transcended one night. It had sparked a movement. Pharrell's words didn't just celebrate resilience, they ignited hope. Donations poured in from strangers moved by the video, from allies inspired by Tayla's courage. The next prom found a new home, the community center. No longer confined to a backyard shadowed by suspicion, this celebration was rooted in unity and healing. Decorations featured quotes from Tayla's poem words that had become anthems for change. Who once kept distance now stood shoulder to shoulder, sharing stories, laughter, and dreams. This isn't just a party, Simone told a reporter. It's a new chapter. The air hummed with possibility, a promise that joy and justice could coexist. Tayla stepped up to the microphone, her voice steady, resonant. I want to thank everyone who stood with us, she began, eyes sweeping the crowd. For every time we were told to be quiet, to stay small. She paused, letting the weight of those words settle. They tried to shut us down, but all they did was turn the volume up. The audience rose, applause roaring like thunder, an outpouring of recognition and solidarity. This was more than a speech. It was a declaration from pain. A movement was born. From injustice, a community found its voice. And Tayla, once silenced, now led the chorus. Have you ever faced a moment like this? Or witnessed someone else endure it? Your story matters. Drop it in the comments below. Every voice counts, and yours deserves to be heard. Now, think about this. Was justice truly served? If you were in Tayla's place, what would you have done? We want to hear your thoughts. Join the conversation and let's challenge the status quo together. If Tayla's journey moved you, please hit like, subscribe, and share this video with others. Let's make sure her voice and so many others never fade into silence. Together, we can turn up the volume on stories that demand change.